be ready for anything. I've been warning people for months now that after the selection date, November 5th, all bets are off across the board.
This is Kaiser Johnson with Liberty and Finance, and these are the Miles Franklin Weekly Specials for October 28th through November 4th, 2024, while supplies last. This week we feature gold half-ounce backdated Canadian maples at just $110 over melt. We also have backdated silver 1-ounce Britannia at just $2.99 over spot per ounce. To order our specials or any of the many other options we have available, call us at 1-888-81-LIBERTY. That's 1-888-815-4237. We're available after hours and on weekends, and we look forward to speaking with you.
Welcome back to Liberty and Finance. We're always delighted to have this wildly popular returning guest. Gregory Mannarino is the founder of TradersChoice.net. He joins us today, Friday, November 1st, 2024. We wanted to squeeze this in before the elections. Greg, thanks for coming back on Liberty and Finance.
Thanks for having me, bro. Love being here.
Our viewers are very enthusiastic about your presence here because you call them like you see them, and you've been keeping us ahead of the curve for quite some time, alerting people to the necessity of owning real things in a time when so much of what we're being told is unreal. There's lies, distractions, and plots that are not for our best good that are being laid. There's a couple of stories that we don't know what's behind them, but it's the strangest things. It's almost too strange to be an accident that came out in the past few weeks. About 3 weeks ago, there was a piece of legislation that was trying to get pushed through Congress saying that there needed to be an emergency replacement plan in case of a mass casualty event affecting Congress, to where there would be predetermined nominees ahead of time that were all lined up, and then if there was a mass casualty event, then immediately those predetermined nominees could slide in place and replace Congress. And it's like, what? Having read the Constitution, that sounds like nothing from the Constitution at all, and yet Congress is trying to vote in this, or was being told to vote in this piece of emergency replacement in case of a mass casualty event. Don't know what to think about that. But then want to fast forward to this week, where we had some surprise exercises that happened over the Sunday and into Monday, of helicopters flying in onto the lawn of the Capitol and saying, this is just a routine exercise, or what if we had to evacuate all of the Congress in case of a catastrophic emergency? Just something we haven't done like this before, something that wasn't announced, but this is just routine, folks, nothing to see here. And one wonders, I mean, your mind can go lots of different ways with this. Is this just, okay, they've maybe learned their lesson from a couple of years ago and think maybe we should be taking security around the Capitol more seriously? Or is this like a tacit warning to those in Congress who might not play along that you could be replaced? You're not beyond reach or beyond touching if you don't play along with the powers that be that are higher up the food chain than you are. It's hard to know, or for the people to just keep planting these seeds in the population of, I guess big militarized civil unrest countermeasures are coming, and extraordinary emergency measures, whatever. But when we interview constitutional attorney Dr. Edwin Vieira about these matters, he typically tells us that the word emergency does not even appear either in the Declaration of Independence or the Constitution or the Bill of Rights. There is no such thing as emergency according to the Constitution. There is the Constitution, and that's what there is. So anyway, wanted to get your reflections, whether you have any insights into any of this. You certainly think about things from a broad perspective outside the box, and any illumination that you want to offer about this type of stuff that's going on in Washington.
Well, look, man, I want people to just honestly think about what I'm about to say. Be ready for anything. I've been warning people for months now that after the selection date, November 5th, all bets are off across the board. I'm not just talking about this stinking stock market. Everything. I believe we are moving towards a whole new dynamic, a whole new paradigm, a whole new set of rules, and I've been telling people this for many, many years. Look, there are some people that still believe in a dead system. This is not a republic. This is not a democracy. This has been taken over right now. Central banks run the entire show. It's not presidents, kings, queens, dictators, monarchs. The entire world has been taken over by central banks. That's it. They're the government. They make the rules. He or she who controls the cash controls the world. Man, we've been told this forever here. And it's just, look, it's very unfortunate to witness what's going on here. What we have here is an absolutely controlled society. Their minds have been taken over by the propaganda ministry. Look here. Don't look here. Deceptions, lies across the board. It just doesn't stop. People don't know what to think anymore, but just put all that aside, everyone. Look, you could sit here and we could focus on all these different things that are going on here under the table, on top, in your face and everywhere else. People can't see things that are in their face. So how are they supposed to see things that are kind of being conducted, in the dark? But the main thing is, look, just put all that aside here, honestly, and realize the society is controlled. We have been divided. We have been conquered. We can't come together on a single issue. We can't elicit change. We've done this to ourselves. Why? No accountability. I've been telling people for years, why is it that you can have this puppet say that and this puppet say this, and no one holds them to account? The media, the mainstream media outlet, same thing. You remember, you and me, when there was a time when the media was held to account for what they said, for what they put out, but there's nothing anymore. It's a controlled society. You have these people put over here, these people put over there. They can pull off whatever they want. And I want people to understand that the system, look, is being deconstructed piece by piece, methodically. This has been going on for decades. And central banks are the root cause, the source of everything that we're seeing right now. It's not the Bidens, nor the Trumps, nor the whoever's that are control of a darn thing. And again, it's unfortunate that people can't break out of that. They're looking in the wrong places, and they're being deceived. They're being deceived yet again. These same people. What gets to me here is, why is it, in anyone's opinion that's maybe smarter than me, which is probably everyone here that's listening, why is it there was not a single question during the presidential clown show debate, nor the vice presidential selection debate, whatever, about monetary policy, what the Fed is doing, why both puppets here are promising lower rates, which obviously means a weaker currency, and people are cheering for it? Not one question at all. And then again, it's the blame game. Well, it's Trump's fault why we have inflation. Well, it's Biden's fault. It's neither of them's fault. Neither one of them has a printing press. Neither one of these people have the ability to devalue the currency. It's the central bank. It's monetary policy. But people have been led to believe that's true. But again, neither party wants to point their finger at the root cause of the issue, which is, of course, central banks. And they're in control. It's astonishing to me how both the Republican Party, Democratic Party, have to portray the Federal Reserve as being on the side of angels, because they're the ruling body. They're the ones that are being protected here by the deceptions, the distractions, by no finger pointing here. And we, the people of not just the United States, of the world, are being systematically wiped. I don't know another way to put it.
Yeah, the famous quote, if you want to know who's really in charge of a country, find out who you cannot criticize.
Wow.
And then you'll know who's in charge. So,
ain't that the truth, man?
And also, I just wanted to share, in light of what you were saying, you've often described this as evil, what's going on. And there was a interesting analysis using the ChatGPT AI response engine. The question that the writer posed to the AI chatbot was, if you were Satan and/or a long-term strategic enemy of the United States, what approach would you take to undermine the morale of the American citizens, destroy their faith in God, and make them question their allegiance to their country? And the answer came back, I would sow division and tribalism, explained how to do that. I would erode trust in institutions and how it would do that. I would attack religious foundations and how it would do that. I would promote hedonism and self-interest, how it would do that. I would undermine patriotism and how it would do that. I would create a sense of hopelessness and how it would do that. I would co-opt technology for control. And there's a paragraph under each and every one of these. I can put a link to that in the description of this video. It's extremely eye-opening, but it drives home that as we grapple, as thinking people look at what's happening in our country and has been for the last significant period of time, and you go, how can this be if we are a constitutional republic? How can this be if those who have been granted this leadership role are actually doing what's good for the good of the people? Nothing makes sense. Nothing makes sense. Why would we have open borders? Why would we have all these things happening and our savings being destroyed through inflation, all this? And you've often reminded us, yeah, none of it makes sense if you're trying to look at it from how is this constitutional? How is this taking care of our people? But it's interesting to know that it makes perfect sense. It's extremely conniving and intelligent and organized and determined and long-term planning. If you look at it on how you would destroy the country and take over its people and its wealth and that sort of thing. And you've also made the point that these central banks have no allegiance to any particular country and never have. I don't know if you want to elaborate on that, how they're international in nature.
Absolutely, man. Look, this is a war. I've been telling people exactly, look, these central banks have their bases in every continent around this planet here, and they're winning, and we are losing. And unfortunately, it's not going to change. It's going to get dramatically worse. What they've done here is it's just too sick and twisted. The mechanism of enriching the 1% and 2% at the cost of everyone else around this world is in full play. People are in a state of learned helplessness now. The mechanism here of artificially suppressed rates, the mechanism of currency devaluation on the back of that has assured our own destruction. And people are, again, why are they not taught this stuff in school? It just really comes down to the fact that we are being pushed into that direction, and people have no idea why. It really just, with regard to finance and economics, and I've been trying to explain this to people, just as an example, right now as we are doing this, the Dow Jones Industrial Average is up over 500 points. Meanwhile, the economic news from this morning was last month we added only 12,000 jobs, an abysmal jobs report. We just found out that factory activity and manufacturing just fell deeper into contraction, and the stock market is taking off. Why? It knows what's going on here. Again, it's the mechanism. The two factors that are destroying the economy are propelling world stock markets higher. That is, again, what we're being promised by Kamala and by Trump, promising lower rates, currency devaluation here. This mechanism, these are economic destroyers, but they boost the stock market. So, but this is what people still seem to believe there's a connection here between the stock market and the economy. And I've been telling people for I don't know how many years now, probably for almost 10, that the worse off that the economy goes, the higher the stock market's going to go because of these same mechanisms. People are committing suicide here. They're again, because they don't understand what's happening to them. Like you said, the confusion, the division, the controlled society that we have, this demolition that is going on here. It's not going to change. We have surpassed, and this morning I did a video talking about the point of no return. There's no way to fix this, and no one is here to fix it. And I've been telling people, whoever is selected to sit behind the Resolute desk, that's who the real traitor is. They've made their case, and we all know this. What I find extremely disturbing, and I'm sure that you do, and most people, I guess, how does this system work? Any person running for the highest office in the nation, okay, what do they do? Where's the first place they go to? Behind closed doors, secret meetings on Wall Street with the CEOs of corporations, the banks, the central bankers. There's no minutes. There's no photographs. There's nothing. We, the people, are not allowed to know what takes place during these meetings. Then all of a sudden, they come out and they try to, say, I'm the person that's going to look. In my opinion, what happens in those meetings is they're vetted. Obviously, who's going to be the one that's going to again bring about what we're seeing here, and it's unfolding very, very rapidly. And then sell the people on fear, because people don't know what's going on, as you just alluded to. They have no clue as to what's happening. And a lot of people are throwing up their hands, surrendering, and then hoping this puppet or that puppet is going to be the one that's going to lead them to some utopian society here. Faith is obviously in the wrong place here. We have these demigods now. And look, I mean, I don't want to go off on some kind of a theological experiment here, but look, the downfall of every society since time immemorial. It's all for the same thing, because people turn their back on God. That is seriously my take on it. It's just people don't understand it. Look at every developed society going back as far as you want to go. They all fall for the same reason. It's the wrath of God, in my opinion, here. And I know I anger a lot of people when I talk about the Almighty here. Frankly, I don't care. They can leave my blog. I have had many people unsubscribe. Greg, if you mention God one more time, I'm unsubscribing. What, man? Leave. I don't know. But look, you and me and the people here, we get it, I think. And we're preaching to the choir, unfortunately. But that's why we got to get this message out there. Man, people don't know what's going on. They don't know. They've been made deaf, dumb, and blind. And unfortunately, leading themselves to their own demise.
That's, gravely troubling. That's why we each got into this. You wrote a book about a couple of books and lots of trading guides about how people can protect themselves and take care of their household and their future despite the system. Work around and with and notice what the system is doing and learn from it and benefit from that rather than being victimized by it. Right now, a lot of people are at, I believe, heightened risk, extreme risk of losing everything, their nest egg that they've worked so hard their whole lives for. And the retail financial planners are telling them, stay with the program, 60-40 stock bond portfolio, buy the dips, income, cost average, and that sort of thing over time. And see the stock markets have recovered post-COVID. They've recovered post the liquidity crisis that happened a few years ago and that sort of thing. We just keep marching forward. We recovered after the 3 banks failed last year. We always it just bounces back. You have a different approach that you suggest people take to maintain the ability to both survive and thrive. I mean, I was going to point to my banner. It's not behind me, but how to survive and thrive through these difficult times. So before we talk about more extreme measures that people may need to take, what are general approaches, general philosophies that you recommend people take now in these unreal markets that have disconnected from the underlying physical economy, et cetera, to still be able to benefit and to take care of business for their families financially, given the heightened risk environment that we're in?
It all comes down to understanding how and why cash moves through the markets. And I'm not just talking about the stock markets. I'm talking about the debt market itself, currency markets, obviously commodities, gold, silver. And it's too easy. It really, really is. Now, let me just see, people don't understand this. When you have a mechanism of where central banks collectively keep rates artificially suppressed, and obviously that devalues the currency, this opens up a doorway for cash to make its way into risk assets here. And what this does is create what's called a multiples expansion cycle, meaning investors will pay virtually anything to own shares of stock, and this obviously inflates a massive stock market bubble and creates distortions across the spectrum of asset classes. Cash coming out of things it should be going into, and vice versa. What's eventually going to happen here, and this is again no accident, it's absolutely deliberate. This debt hyper bubble is going to, when it bursts, is going to cause a multiples contraction cycle. So everyone's going to run to the door at the same time. Stock markets around the world are going to crater faster than anyone can possibly imagine. Now, the mechanism here of artificially suppressed rates has been working for many, many years. I've been telling people for years, buy the dips, buy the dips, buy the dips, riding this market. Me in particular, I'm an open book. Everyone knows what I'm buying, why I'm buying it, what I'm looking to do with regard to the stock market, taking advantage of it. As this multiples expansion cycle continues to go on, the faster the economy comes down, the higher the market's going to go until it doesn't. Now, there's no guesswork here. Again, I have a tool on my website. It's called the Mannarino Market Risk Indicator, MMRI. It's 100% free to anyone who wants to utilize this. It's the key to the market. The debt market is the linchpin. We're going to get a massive sell-off here at one point here, and this is also deliberate. Central banks buying it all and keeping rates suppressed here, creating this multiples expansion cycle again. And the debt bubble is going to burst with such ferocity, people aren't going to know what happened. And then, of course, we're going to get the multiples contraction cycle. People's investment plans are going to go up in smoke. But it goes way beyond that. It's not just a matter of the markets crashing. Forget about market crashes. I feel we're going to end up, and we're already in, a full-blown liquidity crisis. And the fact of the matter is that we can prove that by looking at the global economy contracting here in the United States and around the world at its fastest pace on record, and central banks continuing to inflate. At the same time, the system must be fueled. And that should worry people, because without more fuel, this whole thing will implode, and it will implode overnight. So understanding the mechanism here, look, when you have this multiples expansion cycle in the stock market, again, even though the market is right here at record highs again as the economy free falls, but that means that other assets are on sale. And based on, looking at global debt, it's commodities, of course, here. We're going to end up in what I believe is going to be a super cycle beyond super cycles. I can't even come up with a name of commodities again, because again, these are real things. The debt market sell-off is going to destroy, and I cannot underscore that word enough, destroy world stock markets as the multiple contraction cycle begins. Cash is just going to move. It doesn't grow money wings and fly away to money heaven. It's going to go into commodities in a massive way. Other suppressed assets, I also believe it's going to make its way into cryptocurrency as well. Only because of its market cap. It's so under-owned. But anyway, crypto is in for everybody. I get it. It's a very volatile asset class. But commodities are a no-brainer, man. You got to be in this stuff. My favorite asset has been, as you well know, and everyone who follows my work, is silver. I just look at this very, very simply. Again, there's no magic to this. I look at the Dow gold ratio, the gold silver ratio. Now we got to figure out where the bottom is on the Dow. Where is the bottom? We don't know where the bottom is. And my best guess is the bottom for the Dow is 8,000 in our current environment. The bottom is 8,000. And I would believe we're going to get a 1-to-1 ratio with gold. So 8,000 gold, and could be even a 10-to-1 with silver in a full-on, panic, or more likely 15-to-1. But so that's where this is going here. But that's not even the real issue. The real issue that we're going to face is what we were facing in 2008, was a locking up of the credit markets. And again, this is why Bernanke was rushed in before a loving, caring representative and said, hey, we have to pump billions into the system right now, or by Monday we're not going to have an economy. That's a quote. That's what he said. It wasn't about the market crash. So that's what we're being pushed into. Now, I want people to focus on this. There must be, and there will be, an event to point that, again, understanding that it's central banks who must be portrayed as on the side of angels. They can't be blamed for anything. The central banks are responsible for monetary policy. They run the system, the markets, all of it. Okay. And they can't be held to account. Again, there's no accountability. And puppet leaders, no accountability. They can't point to the Fed. They will not blame them. So they blame each other. It's a joke. And the joke they think is on us, but not the people that follow our work. We're way too smart for that. But there's got to be an event. Some people believe, and I don't think this is true, but I'm just going to say it. People who follow my work, I read through the comments. I do every day. A lot of people are saying, Greg, it's going to happen on the 5th, the 5th, the 5th, the 5th. I'm going to say no, because people are pointing at it. I sincerely believe that if you can foresee it, it's not the one. You're on the same page as me? The outlier.
Yeah, right. That's the definition of a black swan is one that you didn't see coming,
but
right?
Look, I'm not saying I'm smarter than anybody else. I am certainly not. And maybe maybe people are right. But I've never seen before where people can ever in my life would say, okay, this is it, and that's when it's going to happen. We've heard a lot of stories like that. It's never right. To me, it's going to be some outlying event, and it's got to be dramatic, very, so they can say, okay, look, this is why the system is coming apart. It's not because of the fault of central banks or anywhere else. Unfortunately, that's what they have in store for us here. And again, we are being destroyed. We're being wiped out. It's an extermination event for the middle class around the world, and they're going to finish the job, bringing us back to a neo-feudal system, which I've been warning about for 10 years, and I'm sure you have been too. This is where we're going. But people still, they just don't get it because they don't understand. What's happening is people have become trapped by fear. Fear, misunderstanding, lies, deceptions, distractions. And again, these same people, because they don't know any better, aren't holding anyone to account. And that has led us to be a controlled society, unfortunately. And this probably is the final stage before the end. And I think we're very close to this. I can't imagine. Again, I just draw a line here. What I do, as you well know, is I just look at data and I put it. I love doing it, and I put together like a dot plot. I have my own like little dot plot, and I like the Fed has, and I just kind of draw a line through the dots and see where it leads to. And I'd say that moving, look, after the selection here, man, all bets are off. And what comes out after that, we'll see. But 2025 really does not look good to me in any way, shape, or form. If people are expecting anything here to change for the better, they've been lied to, unfortunately.
Any words to the wise from you about when people who are watching our channel, they already are tuned in. They are trying to reach out to friends, neighbors, family members, coworkers. Any wisdom from you as far as how to reach people who think you're crazy when you bring this stuff up, or look at you like they have no idea what you're talking about?
The only way, there are certain people that are more receptive to truth. The fact of the matter is, this environment we're in has created legions of people who hate the truth. They despise the truth. If they're told the truth, they get angry. Unfortunately, and I've been saying this is the Babylon system here, where the truth is the enemy here. Love is the enemy here. Hatred and the fostering of hatred seems to be where people want to be at right now. I guess it's easier for people to hate than to love, unfortunately. But this is the truth. Now, look, there are some people, most people, unfortunately, they won't see it. Either fear or some kind of whatever their issue may be. But there are some that will come around. Don't waste your time. We are too close to this, and it's coming apart right now. It's not that we're waiting for it anymore. It's here now. It's here right now. So, look, what we're doing, you and me, and hopefully the people that follow this, just share it. Get it out there. Sometimes, look, people hear things and they get it, and some people think we're out of our freaking minds. But then they can't. Then they look around themselves and they wonder what's going on. And unfortunately, there are people like you and me that have been out here for a really long time, man. And I think we've done a very good job, man. I have to say that the people that follow our work are out there, they understand it. They're sharing our stuff. Hopefully they'll share this, come away with maybe a new perspective. But like you just said, and I say this all the time, we're preaching to the choir for the most part. This is where the people who get it, that's where they come in. Share this stuff. Get it out there. Talk about it. And just ignore those that obviously they hear the truth, they turn on you, and that's okay. They're lost. Let them be lost. Right? It's the land of the lost these days. But there's a select few that get it, and we are the ones here that are going to be there. You and me, we're not going to let our fans down. There's no way. We're gonna guide everyone through this. At least, hopefully, we'll still be here because there's going to be pandemonium in the streets. People think they're just going to be frolicking around here. No, there's going to be people are going to be at each other's throats. They've been divided. They've been taught to hate each other. This is probably the last step, controlled society. Now, get them to think any way you want, okay? Tell them a lie. They'll believe it. Tell them the truth. They don't want to hear it. That's how it works. It's kind of interesting, right? But the locking up of the system is going to create mass panic in the streets. And that is also not by accident here. Okay, people are going to look at their bank accounts and see all zeros. People are going to realize they have their cash is just gone, and they need a massive outcry here because again, people aren't going to adopt any kind of a new system without begging for it. That's what they want. They want us on our knees. So they're going to create an event, bring the system to a locking up of the entire system globally. This isn't just a phenomenon here. The central banks are running this show. And then they're going to say, okay, everyone, we have a big, huge problem. They're going to make you afraid of it, as they always do. And then they're going to say, well, don't worry about it. We're going to fix it. The same people who have created the issue, who are blameless, can't be blamed by puppets. Okay, they're the same ones who are going to offer you a solution. How does that work? But unfortunately, that's where we're going. And it can't be stopped. This is not something that is new. This is a very slow, methodical process. It's been going on since the inception of central banking and before that. To rein people in, how the few have controlled the many for thousands of years. It's always the same. It's always the same fear, blaming, I'm the person that's going to fix it for you. And we've seen this throughout history. Anyone that's out there claiming that I'm the person that's going to fix this whole thing, you know that they're telling you the polar opposite is more than likely true. People have been led to their death by the millions by people with that kind of a mentality. And these people are, well, they're the Antichrist in my view. But that's what we hear. But anyway, look, man, preaching to the choir here. I think we're on the same page. At least I hope so.
In the face of all of that, and a lot of it is plays upon our weakness to our good nature, our empathy towards our common man, but it also plays on our weakest spots, like our tendency towards tribalism and seeing others as different from ourselves, and that in-group preference and all that. And it's extremely challenging because each of those things has a place, right? Self-preservation has a place. Making sure you take care of your family and making sure you take care of your beloved country and that your country has borders, etc. All that has a place. So it's always misplaced fear. It's always twisted and distorted anger or hatred. At the same time that people are being criticized as being unpatriotic for questioning the integrity of the election system, it's like, wait a minute, we should all be insisting on the integrity of the election system. That's the most patriotic thing anybody could want to do is say, we got to make sure we have free and fair elections and that sort of thing. Or undermining confidence in the banking system or whatever. We had the FDIC leaked meeting where they said, we know there's going to be runs on the banks, but we probably shouldn't say this to the public because that would have unintended consequences. We're only going to inform the people at the special level who need to be informed of that, but not the general public. So it's not that you shouldn't be afraid. It's that your natural, healthy, instinctive self-preservation fears of what's being done wrong to you are being misdirected over into the wrong objects. Okay, so for people who want to stay connected through this volatile time and get the benefit of your coaching, for example, where should they stay connected?
Well, first of all, man, look, people need to understand that they want to push people into a primal state of thinking. They don't want people to think logically, and they certainly don't want people to come together. They want us to keep us divided because there's our strength. And they have succeeded, unfortunately. It's just terrible to see what's happened here. Families have been ripped apart, relationships, friendships, because of what we're seeing now, because we are a controlled society in this nation, the United States, more so than anywhere else in the world. And that has made us the laughingstock of the world as well, I think, unfortunately. But this is a worldwide phenomenon, too. They really got people where they want us, man. We just got to have the high ground. Be ready for anything. No fear. Think logically. Because if you get afraid, that's when you start to lose your ability to think straight. And people will perform acts that they never would do. But people, unfortunately, do have a part of their brain which will revert to a deep survival instinct. And what I say is people just need to establish the right relationships with the right people and stop with the hatred and the division. Understand what's going on. Yes, question everything. Even me. If I'm sitting here, what is Greg saying? I want people to question every freaking word that comes out of my mouth all the time. I tell people, please do your own. If I say something, whatever it might be, here or on my own blog, just look it up for yourself. Think. Use your God-given intellect. Is it hitting you the right way or is it hitting you the wrong way? People know the truth when they hear it. And unfortunately, people have lost touch with that too. It's part of the mechanism here. This is dehumanizing us all. And that's another thing here. People don't look at each other as, we're all one family. Don't look at each other like that. They look at each other as the enemy. Well, hold on a minute. They're blue. I hate them. They're red. I hate them even more. We can't come together. It's just it's the mechanism, and it's the most twist. I never in my life would have believed we would be where we are now. But where we are now is very, and look, this is opportunity. This isn't really about all this. We need to look at these things as an opportunity to change it, to freaking change it. And I really want people listening to this right now, look at this as an opportunity to say, you know what, maybe I've been doing this and maybe I've been brainwashed into that, but I can change it. Because every day, every minute of every day is a new opportunity to turn it all around. Pretty much that's it. Anybody looking for me, you can find me anywhere. I am probably the easiest guy to find anywhere. Just Google me.
One example of what you just talked about, it's hurtful to us individually. It's hurtful to us together. It's illogical. It makes no sense. Is this idea about censorship that we have significant factions of people who have been convinced that it would be a good thing to censor others about whose viewpoints I disagree. And it's like, that has never, ever been the American way. That was, we have the famous quote from the founding of our country is, I may disagree with what you say, but I will defend to the death your right to say it. That freedom of speech gives us freedom of thought, freedom to get together and to talk with each other, freedom of assembly. All of those things are absolutely critical to us being our elevated selves as human persons made in the image and likeness of God. So we have to overcome that, as you said, our baser instincts, our reptilian brain that just wants to get into that fight or flight mode. And when the forces arrayed against us through mainstream media, et cetera, try to give us messages that make us crowd into that corner, feel like cornered animals and start thinking tribally, is a time to, and I agree with you, but by the very fact that it's so blatant, that it's so in our face now, is awful, but it's an opportunity to go, look at this. We're better than this. We can be better than this as individuals and as a families and as states and as a country. So that's very helpful perspective, Greg. I always appreciate your visits here. So do our viewers. They always say, how soon can we have you back? Thanks for making this stop sooner than we normally do ahead of the big event next week. And everyone, remember, no matter what the outcome of this event is, the point is we can overcome our baser instincts. We can become our best selves by thinking clearly, thinking logically, thinking empathetically, and making sure that we're doing the right thing for not only ourselves and our families and our communities and for each other. Greg, you always leave us with that every Friday. This is a Friday, so thanks for that. You want to hit us with that one time before we leave?
Of course, man. That's the most important thing. Every Friday I say, look, man, love each other, care about each other, be charitable to each other. We can change the world. I really believe, and we've seen this throughout history, that one person can change the world. Imagine what we could do together if we actually united. Well, we can only hope, right?
And if you guys haven't checked it out, there's a new song out there called My America. I would suggest I'll try to put a link to it in the description of this video. It honors that spirit that you just expressed, Greg, about how we're all together in this. And thank you everyone for being here on Liberty and Finance. Greg, especially, thanks for joining us. And everyone out there, make sure you, as Greg said, share this widely. Try to make sure that you are doing your part to help open the eyes of those that we care about in our families, communities, coworkers, neighbors, friends. And together we will get through this and we'll come out surviving and thriving when we pull together and become our best selves and trust in our higher power. And thank you, Greg, for being here.
Thank you, man. Good deal.
This is Kaiser Johnson with Liberty and Finance, and these are the Miles Franklin Weekly Specials for October 28th through November 4th, 2024, while supplies last. This week we feature gold half-ounce backdated Canadian maples at just $110 over melt. We also have backdated silver 1-ounce Britannia at just $2.99 over spot per ounce. To order our specials or any of the many other options we have available, call us at 1-888-81-LIBERTY. That's 1-888-815-4237. We're available after hours and on weekends, and we look forward to speaking with you.